Welcome into the Cowboys Report. I am your host, Tom Downey, here to break down everything going on around America's team. We're going to begin with some rumors, namely, just how expensive is Trevon Diggs' upcoming potential deal going to be? Will it be expensive? 3.5 stars, maybe it's even 3.69. We'll round it down to just 3 there. But assuming Diggs plays like he did this past year, again in 2022, he's going to be expensive. I've already seen some hand-wringing of, oh man, Denzel Ward and Jair Alexander, man, they really reset the cornerback market, which we should all know that. The Cowboys should have known that as well, that those deals were coming for Ward and Alexander to become, at least not, if not the highest, one of the highest paid corners in the NFL. The cornerback market continues to rise. That is how almost every position, except for running back, tends to work out when it comes to the market rate. It continues to go north. Now, there's nothing the Cowboys can do right now. Diggs is not eligible for an extension until after his 3rd year, this upcoming year in the NFL. There is no contract the Cowboys can present to him. But if he plays like he did last year, he's going to get a massive amount of money. Yes, he allowed 907 yards. He also picked off 11 passes, broke up 21, had 4 touchdowns allowed. Every single NFL team, even the anti-Trevon Diggs haters out there, be like, yeah, I'd love to put that guy on my roster. He was a playmaker. Yes, he allowed more yards than you want, in part because the tackling of Diggs and Damontae Kazee were not the best overall. But Diggs is a baller and a playmaker. He is going to get paid like that, whether it's the Cowboys this offseason or if they do the whole Stephon Jones, I'm not going to pay big money type of deal. Assuming Diggs plays, even if he takes, let's say, a slight step down and allows like 600 yards or picks off 6 more passes or whatever as teams throw his way less, he's going to be asking for $20+ million a year. Because why wouldn't he be? That is the going rate for top-end corners. And with the way the market typically works, if you're top 10 or top 5 at your position, you normally end up getting highest paid cornerback money or position money. That is simply how it works in the NFL. So with that in mind, our pinned question of the day for you. Would you make Trevon Diggs the highest paid corner in the NFL, or would you refuse to do so? Let me know your answers in the comment section. Why for yes you would, and for no you would not. Now, it's not just Diggs who's going to be eligible for a new massive extension this time next year. A.J. Terrell, Jalen Johnson, and Christian Fulton, all 3 in the same draft class of Diggs. Terrell was the first-round pick. Johnson and Fulton were second-rounders. All 4 guys, including Diggs, have been awesome corners so far in their young NFL careers. They might not all get a similar level of hype, but all 4 teams are like, yeah, we got an awesome football player in the end. And remember this, especially what those guys also do for new deals. The longer you wait, the more expensive it becomes. I hope the Cowboys learned their lesson with Dak Prescott. I somehow doubt that, because had they paid Dak initially, he would not even be a top 10 highest paid QB in the NFL right now. Now he's barely top 5. The market only goes up. And if Diggs balls out again next year, just get it done. We'll have seen growth, great play in 3 young years. Pay him. And as soon as you pay Diggs, in a month or 2 months or 3 months, if you prioritize it and get it done early, he's not even going to be a top 3 highest paid corner for that long. That is why the proactiveness typically ends up paying off more than being slow and waiting. Now, speaking of proactiveness, we haven't mentioned the Cowboys-Giants battle on Rumble lately. That's my fault, and we're getting our butts kicked. It's an embarrassment. Marshall Green, our Giants fan here, who's, by the way, the Giants' best quarterback is freaking Kadarius Toney right now. It's a disaster in New York. Yeah, they hated Jesus because he spoke facts too, Marshall. You can give me the bird all you want. The Cowboys Report is getting our butts kicked by Giants now. We are almost 500 followers behind. We got to get that changed. For free, uncensored videos, including Cowboys Report After Hours, go follow us on Rumble, rumble.com/CowboysTV. Let's talk Dalton Schultz and his potential extension with the Cowboys. Unlike other players, there is a timeline and a deadline for this deal to get done. I am only going to give it 2 stars that it gets done, unlike maybe what Jeremy Fowler reported, which we'll get to more in depth here. Background is this. The Cowboys' clock is ticking as it relates to pay Dalton Schultz. The franchise tag deadline is July 15th. If no new deal is done by that time, Schultz has to play on the $10.9 million franchise tag. There is no fudging that number on the salary cap. He counts at that figure, a very high figure for a tight end, even a good one like Schultz. Here's what Fowler reported earlier Wednesday. Quote, a long-term deal is certainly on the table over the next 2 months. The Cowboys will at least try to make one work. Quarterback Dak Prescott, Coach Mike McCarthy, and coordinator Kellen Moore are all very high on Schultz. And in a bit of an under-the-radar season to an extent, Schultz was really good last year. 808 yards, 8 touchdowns. Does he have issues blocking in space? Yes. Relative to other tight ends, does he suck at blocking? No, he does not. It's just some of the losses ends up looking pretty bad in the end. The Cowboys have nothing proven behind Schultz. They did spend a 4th-round pick on Jake Ferguson, the same pick round, I should say, they spent on Schultz all those years ago, but there's no guarantee that Ferguson ends up being a long-term piece. He could be, but we're sitting in May. It's a little too early to declare that based on the draft capital from that standpoint. So will Dallas get a deal done with Schultz? Type in D for deal, or type in ND for no deal. They're not going to get it done. This is the Cowboys we're talking about, after all. Sound off with your predictions in the comments section. Frankly, I don't trust Dallas to get this deal done. That has not been their historical MO. They tend to really drag their feet on this level of contract extension. And make no mistake, Dalton Schultz at minimum is going to command $10.9 million per year. He will be asking for a lot more than that because the longer you wait to pay a player, the more expensive it ends up becoming. He's not going to command George Kelsey money. That's ridiculous right now. But Mark Andrews money, Dallas Goedert money, or at minimum Hunter Henry / Jonnu Smith money? Yeah. That's going to be the case. He's going to get at least $12.5 million per year. He's not going to settle for a lowball offer. A young tight end who, isn't a great blocker in space, isn't the most dynamic after the catch player, but is typically reliable and put up over 800 yards last year. There are a lot of tight ends on that top 10 list that haven't put up 800 yards. Even Zach Ertz offers you nothing after the catch. He got paid even though he's much older. So what is the most you would be comfortable paying Dalton Schultz per year? Sound off for me in the comments section the most you'd be down to pay him. We are getting closer and closer to 129,000 subscribers here. A big thank you to everyone who has already subbed to us at the Cowboys Report. Inside of 400 away. So if you haven't already, subscribe for more free daily Dallas Cowboys videos. Talking free agency again, so you know what the star number should be. How about Larry Ogunjobi to the Cowboys? Yeah, it's 1 star because they haven't done jack in free agency this year. They've signed 3 players in total. ESPN/Football Outsiders wrote the Cowboys' number 1 need right now is on the defensive line, which I get where they're coming from. And they suggested Larry Ogunjobi as a free agency fit. Now, Larry O signed a 3-year, $40.5 million deal with the Bears this offseason, and a failed physical unfortunately voided the deal, which doesn't happen very often, but it did cancel out the contract, and he still remains a free agent with not that much noise and news around him. And Larry O was coming off a pretty damn good season. I mean, when was last time a Cowboys interior defensive lineman had 7 sacks in a season? Been a pretty long time, especially if you don't count David Irving as a DT. You call him more of a defensive end, but he played over the middle. He had 7 sacks that awesome 2017 campaign in half a year. Larry O came off his best year ever back in 2021. 12 tackles for loss, a ton of quarterback hits, 7 sacks. There's a reason why the Bears, led by former Cowboys legend coach Matt Eberflus, wanted to pay him so much money. He's always been good disruptor in the backfield. 5 TFLs, down year in 2020 after almost identical 2018-2019 campaigns. 50-plus tackles, 10 TFL, 5.5 sacks. Larry O brings you more proven pass rush and production, frankly, than any defensive lineman on this roster. Am I excited about the remaining upside about Neville Gallimore and Osa and even John Ridgeway and maybe Quinton Bohanna? Sure. But Larry O is more proven. The medical is a massive red flag and might turn the Cowboys off altogether since they only draft players who are injured, not sign them so much. Unless you're a safety torn Achilles, in which case, hey, they signed 2 of those guys last year. I would have interest, but I think the medical is a pretty big red flag on that front. So when it comes to free agency, Stephon Jones said not more than a month ago, free agency's not done. We're going to make some moves. And they have done nothing except cut 2 random guys since then. Name a player who you would love to see the Cowboys sign in free agency, even knowing that they haven't done anything on that front this year. Talk about practice. Not a game, but practice right now, as the Cowboys, per Jory Epstein, are going to have 2 sets of joint practices this preseason. Against the Broncos, August 11th, on that Thursday before their preseason game. That's a Saturday preseason game, by the way. And then 2 of them against the Chargers before their matchup on that Saturday as well, to double check my dates there. Wednesday and Thursday. This is just more of a good chance for competition. Maybe they get the occasional fight. I wanted to mention it. It's not that big of a deal in the end that they're having joint practices. Hopefully no one gets injured and there's no cheap shots or whatever, but I do like it to mix it up and having your players go up against other teams' players in a slightly more competitive option.